What's going on, creative? It's your boy Tutorial Tone here, back with another media production tutorial. This is Adobe under 20 minutes. Let's get into it. So first you open Adobe. As you can see, if you have previous projects, they will show. You just click on New Project. Once you click on New Project, name your project. So I'm going to just name this project. Now, once you're done naming your project, Adobe usually save it to a default folder. As you can see here, this is the default folder that Adobe saves it in. Now, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna actually save it to a custom folder. So what I would do is put it on my desktop. I'm gonna create a folder, and then I'm going to name the folder. So once I'm done naming the folder, I'm gonna just save it, and now we have a new project. So once you open your window, this is how your Adobe will look. Now there's also another way of opening a project. You can click on File, New, Project, and just like before, you would just name your project. Now save. Now Adobe have different workspace. Right now by default you usually land on edit in workspace, but you also have the option of choosing different workspace, which is effects, color, and editing. I usually use editing for the most part. So now with Adobe, I usually keep my tools right between my source and my program window, just so it's easy to, pick whenever you're ready. Now you can move your project. Usually when you start Adobe, I believe your project window will be to the bottom left, like here. And just so you know, with Adobe, anything you can just move and drag it to wherever you want and just place it. Now, as you can see, I opened two projects within the same project, if you get what I'm saying. So it's two projects going on within the same one. So what I could do is I could just simply click on it and click close project without interfering with the other project. Now, once I'm done and I have my project set up, I'm gonna import my media. Now you could just click on import media, find the items that you're looking for, and put them in a folder. But the better way I like to do it is just drag and drop. If you know where they're at, just highlight them, then you could drag them, drop them right into your project. Now, once you drag and drop into your project, there's ways of organizing them by putting them in bin folders. So just by clicking on that button there, you have the bin folder, and you can just name it whatever you want. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna name this video clips, and I'm gonna highlight all these clips, and I'm gonna drag it into this folder. And same thing if you have multiple audios, you just make another folder and just put audio folder or audio clips. Now you could just go into these folders by simply double click on it. It'll create a little tab folder up top anytime you click on them. So anytime you want to go back, you just click on the main one just to see everything. So right now what I want is I want all the video clips to be into the main folder instead of a sub bin folder. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just highlight the ones I want, and I'm gonna drag it back out to the main folder. So now what we're going to do is create a sequence. So all you have to do is right click and click on sequence clip. Once you do that, it'll pop up and create a timeline, or you can just drag a clip and drop it on your timeline. It's that simple. Now once you have your sequence clip, all you will have to do is create the different in and out points of the clips that you're importing. So you would click on them and just press I and O and drag it onto your clips. Just like that. Simply scrub through them again. Press I and O for the end, and then you could just drag it. Now, when you're dragging your clips, you have two options. Now, as you can see, there's a video and an audio only. This clip don't have an audio, so usually what you'll do is just drag it, and you can drag it onto the timeline directly. Now, you can adjust the clips by pulling the ends just like this if you want to make it longer, shorter, just in case that in and out point that you picked wasn't really it. Now, you also have the blade tool. What you can do with the blade tool, you can just slice any area of the clip. It doesn't matter. As you can see here, I can slice anywhere of the clip where I drop my playhead or I drop my blade tool. Now, you would need the A tool, which is the selection tool, and you can pull the clip anywhere. Now, when it comes to your tools, there's numerous tools that you have. You have the pointer, you have the track selection, the ripple edit, the razor tool, the slip tool, the pen tool, the hand tool, and the type tool. But the main tools that you usually use for most of the time is the selection and the blade tool. So once you make your selection and your slices, you can rearrange the clip however you like. Now, when it comes to the clips, you have transitions. So right here we have the video transition folder where you just click on it, pick your video transitions, and you could throw it in between your clips instead of having jump edits, and just drag the ends to make them longer or shorter. Now, you also have the type tool. Now, there's two ways of typing. You can go into File, New, Legacy Title. If you're a person that used Premiere Pro before or a while back, you're used to this title screen where it gives you more of a detail or more control of your title. So you go in here, type your title. You could pick your fonts. Let me find a good font here. Once you pick the font you like, you can also resize your title just like this. You can center it by just right clicking on it and change the position, horizontal and vertical center. Or you can press the button on the side here where it says vertical and horizontal if you want to center your text. You change the opacity, the color. You get real in-depth, the sheen, the texture. You know, you can really get customized with this. And once you're done, you could just drag it from your media folder straight onto your timeline. Now, the other way of doing it is using the type tool, which create a graphics effect or a graphics clip. Now, the way you control it is in effects control with this one. To me, this is also a good way of doing it, but I believe the legacy title is more, you get more control with it. You can still type here, change your font, your size, color. But also the only issue is when it comes to centering it, it's not as friendly as the legacy where it snaps onto it. Maybe my settings probably not right or where it may be, but there's usually like smart lines or grids that probably help you. But as you can see, it don't really pop up right here. So if you really want to get more details into your title, I would recommend using legacy title. If you have, say, a gap on your timeline, and usually what you would have to do if you have multiple clips You will have to just highlight them and drag them, or you can just click on the space and click ripple delete. Once you do that, as you can see, all the clips will move over easily. Now we also have video effects. Now these are very useful when you're making productions and you want to add a little spice to the quality of your visuals. In this example, I'm going to use a Gaussian blur. And I'm going to also use a lumetric color, and that's under color correction. So now, once you add the effects, you will be controlling them in the effects control. Anytime you want to do any adjustments to a clip, anything, most of the time, almost all the time, it's in your effects control. Once you go into the effects control, you'll be able to adjust it some more. And as you can see, everything's there under the video effects. Now we also have this cross dissolve that I'm going to add with the Gaussian blur to do a little effect with it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to adjust the Gaussian blurriness, and then I'm going to find a good point where I like it, bring it back. Now we have this thing called keyframe. Now with the keyframe, you can create animations within your effect. So I'm gonna adjust the keyframe from the beginning, bring it over to close to the middle. And once I'm done adjusting my blurriness and I adjust it with the dissolve so it can match, I'm gonna go down to the lumetric color. Now the lumetric color is an effect that you use for basic color correction. In here you can adjust your exposure, your highlights, your contrast, your shadows, your lights, your darks, the temperature, and you can also use what we call LUTs, where it's different, like it's like filters, like IG filters, and you can add them simply to your visuals just to add that extra color, texture, and feel to your visuals. It's very useful. There's a lot of LUTs out there you can look for and you can add to your production, and they're very handy. Now usually when you're using multiple clips and you want to add that LUT or that blurriness effect to multiple clips, you will have to copy and paste. Now say if you have a lot of clips, and for you to do that, that would take a very long time. So a better way of creating that effect is going to the tab down here and clicked on adjustment layer. Once you put adjustment layer, you can overlay it on the top of your clips, and you can just add that one effect to the adjustment layer and it would display over your whole video. Now as you can see, I add that color filter to it, and you could even double stack your layers. So depending on what type of looks that you're going for, you can even add double LUTs just to make it more richer or make your color more richer, or however you want to do. So it's very useful and it's very creative, so just experiment and have fun. So as you can see, you have your clips here. So all you have to do on your timeline, anytime you want to toggle on and off, just press the I to turn off the visibility, the mute button to silence your audio, or the solo to solo out your audio. Now simply, if you want to add audio, you can just do the same thing, drag and drop into the folder and then drag it onto your timeline, and you'll be able to adjust your audio within the effects control same way. Your levels, your channel volume, everything will be in the effects control. So once you click on it, go into effects control, you can hear it, see what's going on. And then once you decide what you want to do with your clip, maybe it's too loud or maybe you need to turn it up, you could go into your levels and simply adjust them. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the keyframes, and I'm going to have it go from quiet into a higher volume, so it's like a fade in. So what I would do is bring it back, the first part I would add a keyframe, adjust it to the volume I like, and then the second keyframe, I would turn it up to the volume I would want the track to remain for the rest of the video.
Cloud smack. Cloud smack.
Now here's a little shortcut. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna copy the two keyframes and I'm gonna actually put it on the end of the clip. Now, if you listen to it, it don't sound right because it's go from low to loud already in the middle of the track. So what I'm gonna do is I want it to reverse, go from loud to low to fade out. So all I would have to do is go to the keyframe and just copy the properties from one to the other. So copy the number here and then put it on the second keyframe and then copy to the first one, change the first one, and then there you go.
Cloud smack. Smack.
Alright, so once you're finished, this is the final result. So now you can add transitions just by clicking on a clip and press Shift D. I'm not sure what it might be on Mac. I will have to double check, but if you just press Shift D, it will add transitions, cross dissolves on the end of the clip, or you can just click on the end of that clip or the beginning of the clip and press Control D. That's your final result. So now we're going to get into the last part, exporting. So now when you're exporting, this is how you usually should set up your settings. So the format should be H.264. That's usually HD. Now this, depending on your clip, if you shot it in 4K or whatever it may be, you can match the bit rate without no problem. If you're not sure what it might be and you want to get a certain standard, you could go down here to like YouTube, Venmo, whichever quality you want to export it to, and you'll be perfectly fine. So now what you have to do is name your file and the location you want to put it in. So I want mine on the desktop. I'm going to just name it. And this will be the format MP4, which is usually what that is when you're saving it. And there you go. Export. Thank you, everyone. This is Adobe Premiere Pro under 20 minutes.
Cloud smack.